Rockies homestand continues, looking to get healthy against the Giants. They're 7-0 against the Giants this year at home. And look who's back on the mound. Chad Bettis out of Lubbock, Texas. And Chad now making his 5th start of the year. And here's some highlights from a year ago. Check out this. Almost to the date, he not only shut out the Giants, he did it allowing just 2 hits. One of the great performances we've ever seen at Coors Field. And Chad Bettis looked at the same thing this afternoon in early September. And he's had a great run going at Coors Field. His last 10 ball games, he's 6-1. The club has won 8 out of 10. His ERA, a very small 2.89. And you like the ratio of strikeouts to walks. In fact, in his career at Coors Field, he's 13-8 overall. So Chad Bettis will look to get the Rockies back in the win column. It's Colorado, it's San Francisco, it's Labor Day. Come on back to 20th and Blake with us.
Hard to describe all of the reasons that I like baseball. It's just something that I've always loved to do.
Ever since I was a little kid, I was always drawn to the game, and that was always my favorite one.
From the first time I ever played, I just kind of got addicted to it.
1-2, got him.
My brother, when he started playing, he was 12. He used to play in the streets, and he was the one who introduced me to the game. I fell in love. I love getting the opportunity to compete.
Bye-bye baseball. That was hammered.
I just like the thinking aspect of it and all the tension that goes on between pitches and the calculating of what's going to happen next.
Here's the 3-2. Got him on a slider.
It's unique, and it lets you know that you're not in control.
Even if you do something right, you execute something right, you go completely wrong. And that's what life's all about.
There's those days that you go 0 for 4, and you know it has an opportunity to kind of knock you down to your knees, and then the next day you can come back and go 4 for 4 and say, look, we got you this time.
It's like peaceful for me. It's really stressful, but you know, it's like every time I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to go for baseball.
Here come the Rockies. Take a good look. You will see it for long. It is a beautiful Monday afternoon, Labor Day, an opportunity to grab your kids, enjoy the family, and enjoy a little hardball at Coors Field. Welcome to our AT&T Sportsnet coverage. The Rockies and Giants opening up a 3-game set here at Coors Field. Chad Bettis has the baseball, and I love that little tease we just did. You hear the players talk about what led them to the game originally. Play ball. And right now, Huey, you played a long time in the big leagues. The Rockies have been playing work ball. They have to get back to play ball, don't they?
They do, and sometimes that's hard to do. It's easier said than done, and for us as ball players, we get wrapped up in that little bubble that we call our baseball world, and these guys now understand that they got to kind of back off from that. Go out and have some fun. Chad Bettis, the last couple games probably hasn't been as much fun as the first two. It all comes down to his fastball command, because that's setting up his other pitches. It dictates how he's going to be able to throw the changeup, the curveball, the slider. That was just the primary difference between his last two starts and his first two starts. It was the fastball command was probably elevated too much and too much of the middle of the plate.
Yeah, one thing that doesn't change whether you're throwing 88-89 or 98-99, you have to get the strike one, you have to work ahead. And Chad, you know, is such a sharp guy and always has been more of a command guy. He understands that. Denard Span will step in first for the Giants. Veteran center fielder. And that fastball's outside, ball one.
You know one thing with Chad, though, no matter what's happening, he's going to get the baseball and he's going to go. There's not a lot of wasted time in between pitches.
Gets a swinging strike there. He's a joy to play behind.
Well, especially if you're going to be somewhat of a contact guy. You want to have the defenders behind you on their toes, ready to move.
That's a good looking pitch also. Joe West, senior statesman among umpires of the men in blue. He's calling balls and strikes this afternoon. Andy Fletcher at first, Alan Porter at second, Chris Siegel is at third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Span hits a ground ball to first. Mark Reynolds says, I got it. 1 out. We take a look at the Southwest batting order for Bruce Bochy. It has been a long, rough year for the Giants. They were predicted either to win the division or finish second, be a playoff team. They're anything but 54 and 85. They'll have Panic, Posey. He's still playing at his standards. Brandon Crawford's come on. Pablo Sandoval. We haven't seen the Giants since they reacquired Pablo from the Red Sox. Hunter Pence. Nick Hundley had a walk-off home run the other day in the 10th inning, the former Rocky. And batting 8th is Mac Williamson, who's been up and down a couple times this year. He's playing left field.
So a lot of familiar names, the ones you're used to seeing with the Giants.
Joe Panic in front of a changeup. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Panic much better on the road. He's at 312 on the road. At AT&T, he's at just 212.
74 for 237 out on the road.
This ball's well hit to right, and it is gone. Second deck home run for Joe Panic. Tenth home run for Panic.
That is the 6th home run that Chad has given up. 5 in the last 2+ games. Had 2 against Atlanta, gave up 2, and then also gave up 2 against Detroit. Joe Panic jumped on that one for an early 1-0 lead.
So here's Buster Posey, who career-wise has hit 384 at Coors Field. He's been battling a sore left thumb. He made a tag play a few days ago at the plate. It's actually a little more than that. And he jammed his thumb, and naturally, like all catchers, he doesn't tell anybody because,
of course,
tough son of a gun. And he's getting some treatment on it, but still fairly sore. He's in. This is going to drop. He's at first base today.
Trying to take some pressure off the constant pounding behind the plate where that thumb could get hit on every single pitch.
I know a lot of guys that their thumb, their hands don't feel good again till January, right? About to ratchet up again to get ready for the next season.
So
well,
true.
Ian Desmond's playing shortstop. The last time he was at shortstop was October 4th of 2015, 2 teams ago. He was with the Nationals then. So he's at short today. Parra Blockman and Carr goes in the outfield, and you see the rest of the infield.
Ian was out early today, about 10:30, taking some ground balls, as was Lexi, Pat Valleca, Trevor was out there, Ryan McMahon.
Good job by Lucroy getting that pitch down and in on Crawford.
But for Desi, I mean, it's not like this is foreign territory. This is what he came up, the position he played coming up. Now, a .962 career fielding percentage. Trevor's .980. But you got to, every once in a while, mix some things up.
Sure.
And when you're in one of these funks where you just can't get the offense, you're hoping this is what you do. He did it yesterday with the lineup, did Bud Black. And it's not to put everything on Trevor. No, that's not what this is about.
No, not at all.
Okay, just want to get that out there early.
And Spilly has a story a little bit later in the ball game. He spent some time with Ian this morning. This is a ground ball to second, and Mayhew gets the force to Desmond. 2 outs with Crawford at first. And you're going to really be interested, and I think you're going to get to know Ian Desmond even more when you hear what he said about playing shortstop today and about the young player that Trevor Story is and the future he has. It's good stuff. Anyhow, you'll get that from Spilly in a little bit. 1-0, 2 outs in the first inning. And here's the guy who's had his greatest success in the big leagues in a Giant uniform. Then he signed that big deal to go to Boston, and it just didn't work out there.
A lot of things went wrong in Boston for Pablo.
He has been struggling to catch up to stuff elevated. He still hits the low ball. When we say low ball, it's like Corey Dickerson low ball. It's not a strike. He hits that really well.
From the ankles to the ground.
Yeah, you got to look out, making a mistake down to the switch hitter Sandoval. He's 0 for his last 27 at the plate. He actually, when they first signed him, re-signed him, and he went down minor leagues and came up, and he was red hot initially. In fact, he had a home run against Max Scherzer, but he has cooled considerably. He's hitting the low 200s in a Giant uniform.
You can see why they re-signed him, because they're not on the hook for very little of his salary.
Yeah, they're not paying it.
No, Boston is still sending him a check every 2 weeks. The direct deposit, of course.
Large check.
Yeah. Just direct deposit. It's not like he has to go down to Wells Fargo and cash it.
No. See what he did with Boston, just 212. And because of injuries last year, and because he's not produced anywhere near like he did in San Francisco, I was talking to Bam Bam, Hensley Mullins, their longtime hitting coach, he goes, he really doesn't have many at-bats the last couple of years. 1-2. And that fastball, they tried to get him to chase at 93.
That's a good sign.
That's a really good sign, because there's Bam Bam. He's been working primarily at about 88 to 90 miles an hour with his fastball. We have not seen a 93 yet.
No, I think that's the first one.
Listen, Chad's going to get stronger.
Yes, he will.
Continues to remove himself from the obvious. That's a good pickup by Mayhew, and he's going to get Sandoval. In the inning, home run by Joe Panik, and the Giants have a 1-0 lead. a much more typical lineup of 2017. Charlie Blackmon at the top of the lineup after hitting third yesterday. Doesn't matter where you hit Charlie. Charlie yesterday was a 2 for 3 and a walk. Drove in the only Rockies run yesterday. DJ is in the 2 spot again. Nolan's back in the lineup. Parra 4, Reynolds 5, Cargo in front of Desmond and Lucroy. That's what Buddy Black has written up today. Hopes to be the winning lineup. And the Rockies are facing former #1 pick and 27-year-old Chris Stratton, who has faced the Rockies only one time. That was back in April at Coors Field, working out of the bullpen, 3 scoreless innings. This is a guy with good stuff, and he's pitching well, Huey.
Last 3 starts, he has 3 quality starts. Pretty light fastball, but what it comes down to for him is a big, big curveball. And this is really an audition time for Chris Stratton. He's done enough down in the minor leagues in 111 starts. He's 38-34, but they've got to see what they have moving forward as they go into the offseason with Matt Cain at the end of his contract.
Yeah, Matt Cain's in a buyout situation. I think it's $18 million if they were to keep him, a $7 million buyout. Matt Cain has had a wonderful career, but you know some of the injuries have caught up with Cain. 1 ball, 1 strike. He went changeup on the second pitch of the ball game to Charlie Blackmon.
And changeup's really his 4th best pitch. Throws it about 7% of the time. Guys are hitting a whopping 600 off the changeup. But it's fastball and a very, very good curveball.
League's hitting 125 on the curveball. And he spots that fastball at 92. He'll run it up to 95.
But then, as you can see on the numbers there, the velocity, that's where he's going to sit most of the day. And that's what scouts will look at. Where does he sit?
And on the outside corner, Joe West says that's a strike. And it got a piece of the Subaru strike zone. So Charlie Blackmon never moved the bat. And Charlie is out #1.
Well, in his last start, Chris Stratton had 10 strikeouts against Arizona. And he also had 10 against Washington 2 starts prior to that.
So here's LeMahieu, who batted leadoff yesterday. And DJ was 1 for 5 in the ball game.
I was just looking out at the outfielders for San Francisco.
But they didn't get
they didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
The big shifteroo.
You mean Mac Williams is actually playing within 150 yards of left field? This ball's hit well to center field. Span going back. He'll have to play in front of the trap.
I think he caught that just off the end of the bat.
That would have been a triple yesterday at least. 2 outs. It'll bring up Arenado. Just had a pinch hitting appearance yesterday. So Pablo Sandoval's back at third base. He can still pick it. When he makes errors, it's typically from a throwing standpoint. Even though he's a wider body guy, he's very quick. Short area quickness. Williamson, Span, and Pence. I don't know if Span still has the wheels of your elite center fielders. Crawford's a great shortstop. Panic's really good at second base. And Conley catches strike 1 on Nolan. Here's an interesting stat Dougie just threw our way. After getting a day off this year, Nolan is hitting .556 in the next game. 15 for 27, including 5 home runs. So wow. Hopefully that's on the menu today.
Pretty good numbers against the Giants this year too. A lot of positives.
And that's a good start. Chris Stratton had the hat knocked off. 2-out knock for Nolan.
He needed a chin strap for that hat.
Yeah, and listen, guess what time of year it is? It's back into divisional play. I know it didn't work out against Arizona, but Nolan kills the Giants. He typically kills everybody
and here,
in the West.
Yeah, and there's the curveball. He goes down and gets it on the Subaru Supermo. The hat comes flying off right back over the head of Stratton. And those numbers are climbing. The ones you just gave from Doug that said sitting over 500 after getting a day off. I'm just going to say it right now. I think that's the last day off he gets the rest of this year. I mean, he's going to play the next 26 straight.
Yeah, I would think. Buddy kind of alluded to that yesterday. And a comebacker off the bat of Parra. So that'll end the inning. We go to the second. The Giants on a panic home run, up 1-0 on this Labor Day.
Ian Desmond is starting at shortstop for the first time since October 4th, 2015, when he was with the Washington Nationals. And this is what he has to say about playing shortstop again.
You know, as a young player, I used to come here and try to up my game as much as I could because you're all going to go against Tula. So I'm going to have to try to up my game because Story is, in my opinion, right there, if not a tick above. He's pretty good at short, so I got to push myself a little bit.
Pretty high praise when you hear Ian Desmond talking about Trevor Story. We can all agree that Trevor Story has been playing elite level Gold Glove defense, and for Ian Desmond today at shortstop, he's just trying to fill in for a day or two. Guys?
All right, Spill it. Yep, you learn a little bit more about Ian Desmond, and keep in mind with Trevor Story, this is now his first full year in the big leagues. He had the great 4 months last year, but he lost the last 2 months. He's still a very young player, still figuring it out offensively, and you know, from afar, you have to be really proud, and I think the organization is, of how well he has played defense, given that a lot of times, Huey, you played shortstop in the big leagues. It's hard not to take, if you're struggling offensively, not to take it bats out to the field with you.
And for Trevor, only 9 errors this year, and I've never once thought that he went out to the field dragging his bat with him. Where he was like, oh, something happened, a couple strikeouts, and he's done something out there. So I'm with you. You're very proud of the way he has played this year, the way he's handled all of this. A 983 fielding percentage. You're talking about Tulo, who is 986, only second to Omar Vizquel of all time fielding percentage. So 983.
Outstanding.
Oh yeah,
it's elite.
It's a winning percentage for sure.
And that doesn't include that. That's just, you know, making the chances he gets to baseballs that other guys don't get to. This is pulled to third. Nolan on the backhand will throw out his former teammate Nick Hundley. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Mac Williamson. Nice change of pace there from Chad to get Nick Hundley out in front, hit it off the end of the bat. Hey, join in on the conversation today and every day. Send us your statements, your questions. Use Twitter or Instagram at AT&T Sportsnet RM, and don't forget to use the hashtag Toyota Talk. Williamson takes a strike. He had hoped to be the everyday left fielder for the Giants this year. Didn't work out that way.
They run through some left fielders. Jared Parker, remember he crashed into the wall against the Rockies, broke his collarbone.
Yeah, it was going to be, those two guys were battling it out. Good breaking ball. One of the things that Bam Bam has done with Williamson, and chatting with him today, said his hands have moved all over the place the last couple of years. You know how hitters are always tinkering, right? He said we've kind of finally settled where they're in a good position just to take them back, load, and go forward. Yeah. Which in theory makes you quicker and shorter to the baseball.
And make you wait longer to see the baseball. You don't have to get the engine revving up quite as fast and as early if you've got a lot of movement going on.
He's a strong guy. 1-2. He held up 2-2.
Don't mind that at all from Chad, because he swung at the first 2 curveballs and was really out in front. Go ahead and feed him a third one. See if he fishes for it.
2 outs, nobody on in the second. And this fastball is go foul.
Way to talk to it, Drew.
You know, it's like golf.
Get in the hole, right?
The ball never, not occasionally, never listens to me. Hey, is Spilly still wired up there?
Yeah, of course I am.
Okay. Congratulations, because something's wrong here.
Something's wrong with me?
No, well. Both my partners.
Yeah.
Love you both dearly. You both now have holes in one in golf, because Huey won a truck a couple years ago at the Rockies tournament. You just had one at Cherry Hills a few days ago.
That's right.
Hole number 6.
And what am I, chopped liver?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And I would have won a very large bar bill, but since I was not a member of Cherry Hills,
you didn't have to pay it.
Unfortunately, I didn't have to pay it. So sorry, guys.
That's sweet. That's what you always want to do. Visiting country clubs where you knock in the hole in one.
Welcome to the club, Spilly.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
This has popped up. This will end the inning. Spilly hit a 4-iron, 147-yard hole. Nice job, Spilly. That's awesome, man. Good inning for Chad Bettis. That was awesome also. Rockies down 1-0. Spilly posing again. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores and by the Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. That's just flat beautiful also. That's Shadow Mountain Reservoir, which is not too far from Granby and Grand Lake. You know, if you look at the top of the mountain, oh, we had to break from that shot. If you look at the top of the mountain, you can see one of the 11 chimneys on on the estate of one Doug Marino.
Marino's place.
Marino's chateau in Grand Lake. Doug just corrected me. It's 12 chimneys. My bad. Who counts chimneys?
Doug.
Yes. if you got them, flaunt them, right? Mark Reynolds leading off in the second inning. 352 against the Giants this year. And there's that curveball, and it's in there for a strike. It's 0-2. Chris Stratton's spin rate on his curveball is tops in baseball.
They're tied with Ryan Presley, but who's a reliever for Minnesota. That spin rate's over 3,000 revolutions per minute.
He has his second strikeout of the ball game. One gone. That'll bring up Cargo.
So what that means is it's staying on plane longer and then diving hard at the end. That's why it's such a good curveball.
Cargo has 2 at-bats against Stratton, which is more than anybody else on the Rockies. He's 0 for 2 against him. Cargo yesterday batted second. He was 0 for 2, a couple of walks. Shift is on in the infield. Fastball's in. And that's in also. 2 balls and no strikes. Stratton's in a great place. Just his 6th major league start, but 267 through his first 5 starts. His last 3 in 0.96 ERA. High fly ball to right center field. Cargo was on this, but as things have gone for everybody lately, he just missed it. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Ian Desmond, the shortstop. Ian Desmond.
I think that's why when he went down on his rehab, they wanted him to play some left field, play some first base, but also get some reps at shortstop.
Desmond pinch hit yesterday. Hit a fly ball to center field. 323 lifetime hitter against San Francisco.
But I'd say almost every day, if not every other day, it seemed like Ian was taking some ground balls at short. It wasn't just the last couple weeks.
It's a base hit for Desmond. He'll make a hard turn, see what Span does with the baseball. He gets to it quickly. And that's a 2-out knock. The Rockies had a 2-out knock in the first from Nolan. That'll bring up Lucroy. Tony Walters did the catching yesterday. I got bad news from Cincinnati. Cincinnati was up 4-0. It's now 4-4. Orlando Arcia just hit a 3-run home run to tie it up for the Brewers.
They're kind of feeling it right now.
They're feeling it. The Rockies perhaps are feeling the pressure of Milwaukee feeling it. But as has been talked about quite a bit of late, the Rockies control their own destiny, and they understand that. I was thinking about this earlier today. In many respects, the Rockies season has kind of mirrored what the Giants went through last year. The Giants at the All-Star break last year were the best team in baseball. The Rockies were among the top 3 or 4 teams in baseball at the All-Star break. Second half, they had a terrible second half, kind of limped into the playoffs, and then were really good against the Cubs. You know, maybe a pitch or 2 away from defeating the Cubs. And the Rockies, as we know, in the second half, they're 5 games under 500. You go back, you know, to when they were 21 over in the latter part of June, and they're 13 under since then. 25-38, which is the 28th record in baseball. They're better than only Detroit and the Chicago White Sox. It's the poorest record since June 20th in the National League. But you know what? You wipe, if you can get in, you wipe the slate clean. The Giants learned that a year ago.
And that's the beauty of making the playoffs. Is you start out 0-0. So now it becomes just a 26-game sprint. And all you have to do is beat the team behind you by 1 game. You don't have to beat them by 10.
Nope. 0-2 as Desmond dives back in.
You know, we've been talking so much about runners in scoring position and what it's like since August 1st, just a little over 200, 206 to be exact. But they're still getting the guys on base. I'd be a little more concerned if they weren't getting base runners out there and not having opportunities. That's when you would start to worry some.
Right.
Worry more, I should say.
When there's no traffic.
When there's no traffic, and now everybody's going, well, you know, what's really going on? Because it takes 1 or 2 games in a row, and then it's just gonna explode.
That's what Buddy Black is hoping for. That's what everybody wearing the black tops, the vest today, hopes for.
But it can't just be 1 game. It's got to be a couple in a row,
yep.
2, 3, and then you get that feeling again.
The strange part about it is that a lot of that has occurred here at Coors Field. You know how they typically hit at Coors Field. 1-2 on Lucroy. Giants last year, just for the record, they were 57-33 at the All-Star break last year. 24 games above 500. And then they had a really tough second half. At one point, they were the worst. They were the worst team in baseball in the second half.
One of the top teams, one of the top 3 teams in the first half.
3-2. You always hold your breath longer with Joe West. Did Joe let you know at the plate? He's got a little Tim McClellan in him.
Not as much Tim McClellan, not where he waits 3 seconds. But yeah, he would let you know at the plate. So at least as a hitter or as a catcher, you knew what was going on.
So they'll play behind Desmond. He'll be off on the pitch. Lucroy hits it well, but foul on the right field line. You know, given all of the issues, the scuttlebutt on social media about what's happened to the Rockies, the talk shows, etc. The Rockies still, on Labor Day 2017, the 2nd best record they've ever had. Better 2009. Another foul ball. 2009 on their way to 92 wins. They were 77-60.
Still 8 games over 500. 14-6 on Labor Day.
Ducks out of the way, so he draws a walk, and that'll bring up Chad Bettis.
Well, fans, you can place a deposit on the 2018 season tickets and guarantee postseason ticket opportunities. Go to Rockies.com/season tickets for more details.
Chad looking for his first knock in 2017. That would be an opportune time. 0 for 4. He does have a sac bunt. He's also drawn a walk. He'd take the walk right now. Load him up for Charlie. You know what? He's 25% of the way there.
Good eye.
50% of the way there. Nick Conley will have to go out. Chris, did you see what he's hitting?
I think he expended a lot of energy with that at bat that Lucroy had.
Jonathan will do that. He'll see a lot of pitches. He'll foul off a lot of pitches.
Not for Chad. You're just thinking, I'm going to swing here on the 2-0. I'm going to look for it right down the middle of the plate.
Two and 1.
Probably taking the whole way. Look at the way he turned on that.
Yeah. I'd be surprised actually if he did swing 2-0. Takes a hack there, fouls it off. So Stratton strikes out Bettis, and the Rockies leave 2 aboard in the second inning. So we'll go to the third. It's 1-0 on the home run by Joe Panik in the first. We go back to Nolan Arenado, one of the biggest hits of the year. The walk-off cycle. And one other time in Rockies history. Cargo had one of those. Chris Stratton is going to lead it off as you look at a live shot of Nolan Arenado. He always kills the Giants. 9-1-2 for San Francisco. Fifth start for Chad Bettis, our second-round pick out of Texas Tech in 2010.
65th Major League start tonight, or today, for Chad.
One and two. Stratton's a 28-year-old, or actually a 27-year-old. He's a year younger than Bettis. He's out of Mississippi State. All-American there. And he's got to go away. One out. First strikeout of the ball game.
Again, Chad filling up the strike zone. 35 pitches, 24 for strikes. 4 ground ball out so far. The only pitch I think he'd like to have back, obviously, is that that second pitch to Joe Panik.
Span grounded out to open the ball game. He hit the ball right at Mark Reynolds.
Giants got beat yesterday by the Cardinals.
7-3. They allowed 3 home runs in that game. Very nearly 4 home runs. Gorkys Hernandez.
What a catch.
Made a fabulous catch. Otherwise, that off Tommy Pham. Was it Pham who hit it, or?
I'm not sure. I know it was early in the game that he went back to dead center field to make that catch.
That just missed. Here's the catch.
No, you're right. It was Tommy Pham. He's thinking he's got a home run. Gorky says, wait a second.
I got it.
I got it. Not a problem.
You know what I love about Madison Bumgarner? There are no excuses. When he was asked about it after the ball game, you know, this is the season where some people are saying, man, the ball's wound tighter, there's a lot of home runs, etc. Matt Bum said, I don't care if it was 10 degrees or 100 degrees out. All 3 of those balls deserve to be hit out of the ballpark. And guess who also hit one yesterday?
Mad Bum.
Mad Bum. Got an interesting stat on Bumgarner. That was his 3rd home run of the year. And you know, with that motorcycle mishap here in Denver earlier in the year, he missed, you know, more than half the season. Speaking of home runs, that's a home run for Span. Now it's 2-0. Well, Panic hit his 10th in the 1st. Span just hit his 10th in the 3rd.
That's 3 games in a row now for Chad where he's given up 2 home runs in the game. But watch where this pitch is. It looks like a changeup on the Subaru Supermo. That is belt high. You got it right on the sweet spot of the bat.
Panic takes a curveball for strike 1. 2 solo home runs. Span had been slumping. He was 1 for his previous 16 at the plate.
130 and 129 in his last 8 games.
Now to finish that story on Bumgarner, he now has 4 straight years with at least 3 home runs at pitcher. Last time somebody had a stretch like that was Earl Wilson in the 60s. Charlie makes the catch. 2 outs. He had 5 straight years where he had at least 3 home runs. Wilson playing for the Red Sox and Tigers during that time frame.
Well, he's been used to pinch hit before. When they've played some interleague games, he's hit for himself. So it's not foreign territory to him. But think about some pitchers, they just go up there and it's just an exercise in futility. But for him, he uses it as I'm going to get my A swing on every time.
He reminds me of Micah Owens a little bit. Remember, he's a much better pitcher. No disrespect to Micah Owens, but obviously Matt Bum is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Micah Owens, they used to say with Arizona, was a pitcher, had the most pop on the team.
Didn't, after he had some struggles pitching, didn't they think about moving him to first base? Mike Owens?
Yep. In fact, he may have even, with another organization, it's been a few years, come back and tried to make it as a position player. Look, David Peralta did that. Of course, he never pitched in the big leagues. The most notable in the last, 20, 25 years that you can think of was the Cardinal, who
Rick Ankiel,
who struggled with command issues. Bettis strikes out Posey, but Denard Span hits a home run to right. It's 2-0. Top of the order for the Rockies. Fans, when the Rockies score 7 or more runs, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special with Moss at Taco Bell. Charlie Blackmon will lead it off against Chris Stratton. He's allowed a couple of singles so far. Blackmon didn't swing the bat in his first AB and was called out on a fastball on the extreme outside portion of the plate. And he's ahead 2-0. Blackmon had seen Stratton only one other time. That was the 3-inning relief stint back in April. And this ball's crushed high and deep right center field. Take a good look. You won't see it for long. Charlie Blackmon says right back at you. And the Rockies are on the board.
Just love when you get into a hitter's count. You can sit on a pitch. You can look for pitches. And then the best part about it is when you do all of that and you don't miss it. And Charlie didn't miss this one bit.
This is his 33rd of the year. He leads the Rockies, and it's RBI number 86.
Wow. His last 12 games against San Francisco, 3 home runs, hitting over 370. And answered quickly that home run that Denard Span hit last half inning.
You know, he drove in the only run yesterday, batting in the 3 spot. And I'm thinking back on this season, this extraordinary year for Charlie. And last year was an extraordinary year. This is not just a flash in the pan type of thing. He was really good 2 years ago. He was one of the best players in the game last year. This year he's an MVP candidate. He's leading the league in hitting. Can you recall a period of time other than the first few days of the season where you'd say, oh, Charlie's in a slump?
No.
I don't recall, you know, even a 1 for 12 type of run, which everybody goes through.
Oh, sure. It's just the ebbs and flows of a season and as a hitter. But for Charlie, the consistency with which he goes out there every single day, I mean, and this is year after year after year now. As you said, each year gets better than the previous one.
This is not, well, this guy's had a career year. It's an aberration. This guy's one of the best players in Major League Baseball, period. 2-2's fouled off by LeMahieu.
And we were having a discussion a couple days ago on the pregame show about MVP candidates, of course, Nolan and all these other guys, Paul Goldschmidt, who we just saw.
Joey Votto. I mean, I'm not putting it,
but Charlie was at the top of my list, just from what he's done from the leadoff spot.
This is line fair over the head of Buster Posey. It'll be a single as Pence got to the baseball quickly, shading toward that line. So DJ follows up the home run by Blackmon, and he's aboard with nobody out.
And I'm not sure DJ knew where this ball went on the Subaru Supermo, because he's kind of waiting in the box. Watch how long he waits in the box. Oh, is he going to catch it? No, I got to go. That's a 12-game hit streak now for DJ.
And here's Nolan, who had a sharp single up the middle his first time. I told you, when he gets a day off, the next day he's hitting close to 600. It's a curveball for a strike. One more note on Charlie's home run. Only 5 times has a player hit more than 33 home runs out of the leadoff spot. The most ever, and this is in jeopardy. Alfonso Soriano hit 39 in 06 with Washington leading off. 1-1 on Arenado. To underscore the point we were making about Charlie just doesn't slump, he's never gone 4 games this year without a hit.
That is truly amazing, because he plays every inning too. I mean, the only 2 games he's really come out of are those 2 where he got the cramps in the hamstrings.
That's it.
That's it.
Played more innings than anybody in center field, doing it half the time at altitude. stealing some bases still. It's really amazing. One, two. He's diabolical about his preparation, about his conditioning, about his diet. I mean, he does everything right.
Just to stay on track and doing all that through the course of a season with the travels. Kudos to him.
And this could be two. 6-4-3. And now they're 2 outs for Parra. Parra hit a comebacker his first time up against Stratton. Gerardo yesterday had a couple of hits for the Rockies. They had only 5 hits in the ball game.
Just 4 hits the night before. We get some breeze here now, and it's picked up, but it's also gotten really hazy because of all the fires out, out in California, up in Montana.
Yeah, there's no question this is going to go foul, and you can smell it. I know
Right.
it seems crazy to think. I don't know if it comes across on your HD television. It does there. This has everything to do with the fires. I mean, it's cut your visibility. You feel like you're in San Francisco in the evening when the marine layer rolls in. One on Parra. Swing by Gerardo. Parra at 346 in the second half. 8th best in Major League Baseball. Ball's lined down the left field line, foul.
Pretty consistent this year for Gerardo. Look at those numbers. Actually been a little bit better in the second half at that 346, but 329 not too shabby in itself in the first half. No,
he's been terrific. 2-2. We're talking to our good friends and counterparts on the Giants television side, Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Kruko, before the game, and obviously the conversation with the Rockies about their offensive struggles, and they're going, how? Look at this, 340, 314, 303, 338. How can you guys be struggling?
Talk a little bit about the Giants, though, and their leading home run hitter is Brandon Belt. He hasn't played in a month.
And it doesn't look like he's going to play the rest of the year. He's had his 4th concussion, not all this year, but he got hit in the head with a pitch. And both said, we're not rushing Brandon back. There's absolutely no point to that. He has started exercising again. 3-2. Palmer's got a good AB going. That's what Corey said off the top. Huey, you know this to be true. Spilly, you just got to, everybody, 2 outs, nobody out, doesn't matter. Grind out every at bat.
And we saw Jonathan Lucroy do it for his walk in the second. Now this will be the 8th pitch.
Which was big because it flipped the lineup over.
The changeup. Oh, got a hanger, got it up. At the top of the Subaru strike zone. That 8th pitch.
I asked Cargo the other day, who grew up in the Arizona system with his good buddy Gerardo Parra. I said, was he always like the life of the clubhouse? He said, from day one.
Not going to change either.
No.
Nor should he. This is what you need.
Yeah.
You need this.
Especially, Huey, it's a guy the Rockies don't have familiarity with. Usually inside the division, not that you don't check videotape, but you know ball movement already. You know sequences typically because you're inside the division so frequently. But this guy they haven't seen really.
No, but the other thing too with San Francisco, they usually trot out the same 4 or 5 starting pitchers every year. I mean,
it used to be the same bullpen all the time, right? 3-2. Outside. That's one heck of a
great at bat.
Parr was up there for 20 minutes. Saw 10 pitches. Reynolds saw a steady diet of curveballs and striking out his first time up.
That's why he didn't waste any time once he saw the first fastball. And that was in a good location for him. He just fouled it off.
Marks hit .352 with a couple home runs. 9 driven in 13 games against San Francisco this year. Back to the curveball. Marks saw it out of the hand. It's 1-1. Stratney. Great career in Starkville, Mississippi. First team consensus All-American his draft year.
That's what led to the first round pick, 20th overall in 2012.
He was a semifinalist for the Golden Spikes Award, which was won by the guy at first base when he was at Florida State, Buster Posey. Not the same year. On the ground to Crawford. Rockies get a run back on the home run by Blackman, his 33rd. So it's 2-1 as we head to the 4th at Coors Field. The Giants leading.
Fourth inning. I am in the scoreboard. It's scoreboard watching time. Even though it is September 4th, we're paying attention to the Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds. It's tied. It's going into the bottom of the 9th inning, and I'm hoping that I get an opportunity with Nora and Liz, the scoreboard operators. They've been working here for 9 years to change that score from the 4 to the 5. That's what we're waiting for. This is my new rally seat, just changing scores. Guys?
Hey, Spilly, since you're in there right now,
yeah,
let's shake some things up, right? Because that's been the theme of the day.
Sure.
And Desmond shook up the clubhouse, moved the furniture around. I don't like Boston at home against Toronto. Have Boston play the Dodgers at Fenway. Make the Dodgers go east. Can you work that out?
I can work it out, but it won't actually have any effect on Boston. They're not going to be able to go play the Dodgers. But I mean, if you want the visual of that, yeah, I can mess around back here.
Okay. Don't get anybody fired.
In trouble, though.
I have a feeling I'm going to.
Just for letting you in.
You're going to put a padlock on that thing. Keep Spilly out. Spilly's hunting numbers and letters right now.
Well, that's nice. They got MLB extra innings going on.
So we watch the game, and once the score changes, we'll put the score up on the scoreboard. And basically, it's pretty fun. The numbers here, it takes a genius to figure out how to put these numbers into the scoreboard. It took me a while to get it figured out.
Let Liz do it then.
Yeah, I'll let the pros do it.
My man Kamen in there. Yeah, no. You may have the day off. You may be coaching Gabe's team.
Uh-oh. That's 2 outs now in the bottom of the ninth.
Looks like they're going extra innings potentially. Somebody hits a walk-off. Crawford takes outside. It's 3-2 on Brandon. Hit it to a fielder's choice his first time up. Crawford hitting .400 with 4 home runs over his last 16 games. There's another view from inside the scoreboard.
Billy Hamilton's up for Cincinnati.
Inside the park home run walk-off, yeah. Ground ball right at Ian Desmond, his first chance. And he fields it flawlessly. That's the kind you want when you haven't been there in a while,
That's what I was
right?
going to say. A nice, easy 2-hopper. It's like a coach was hitting fungos to you.
Start easy.
Start easy. I'm not going to move you too much this first one, so just start right at you. Perfectly placed, 2-hopper. Hooks it in, shuffles the feet. Easy throw to first.
From day one at his press conference, wait, Billy Hamilton just did hit a walk-off homer.
But it
went out of the yard.
Over the wall.
Hallelujah, Cincinnati.
Yeah,
Spilly put it up there.
Woo! Now where's the F? Where's the final?
You got to be kidding me.
You just said it.
Hamilton hits a walk-off. You don't expect him to hit it out of the ballpark.
Does the F go right here? Check this out.
There's another ground ball, and Desi's going to get there on the move. That's a nice play.
What a play.
That's not one of the first 2 or 3 you get off the fungo, is it?
No, that's one of the last 2 or 3 you get of the day. After you've taken some right at you, to your glove side, to your backhand. Let's do a rangefinder now. And he ranges far to his left, way on the second base side. Sidearm flip. And you can tell he's played 913 games at shortstop with this move on the Subaru Supermo.
Right now, Bettis and Lucroy getting him the chance to catch his breath. They're just hanging out there now. He's coming to the mound.
Say, nice job.
Honestly, I don't think that had anything to do with strategy.
No.
It just,
come in here, pal.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Billy, go. Make it a final.
Slap it up there. Atta baby. And let's take you to the Queen City. This is literally moments ago. Billy Hamilton, a no-doubter. 4 or 5 rows back to left center.
Josh Hader for Milwaukee, who gave that up.
And Josh Hader is nasty.
Left-handed version of Jacob deGrom.
He looks like him, doesn't he? Big win for the Reds, and now the Rockies are a game up. And hopefully the Rockies can do their thing here in this 4-game losing streak, move a game and a half in front of Milwaukee. 0-2 on Hunter Pence.
I was going to say St. Louis is at San Diego. Game will start in just a little bit. Washington at Miami.
Way inside. Just to finish that thought again on Desmond, from day one, his opening press conference with the Rockies, he said, I'm a baseball player, because all the talk was, well, he's moving from the outfield to first, and he just moved to the outfield a year ago. He means that honestly. He just wants to be in the lineup, and wherever you put him, he's fine with it.
I look at last year with Texas, started in left field. They had an injury, then he needed to go to center field. He played center field that next day. It wasn't like, let's practice for a couple days, then we'll run you out there.
Remember Jeff Bannister telling me last year that Ian Desmond has one of the best throwing arms of a center fielder he'd ever seen. So he really, you know, he made a few errors out there, but he really ended up doing a very good job. And he's going to get another chance here.
Tie a record.
It's a good inning for Bettis and a real good inning for Ian Desmond, playing short this afternoon. 2-1, Rockies trailing as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Subaru, a Subaru. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism, Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why. TravelWyoming.com. There it is again. Spilly took care of everything. Didn't mess up a thing. Got the F right side up, and he has the 5 right side up. The Reds on a Billy Hamilton walk-off with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. And defeated the Milwaukee Brewers. The Rockies a game clear for that final wild card spot of Milwaukee. Here's Cargo inside. Cargo hit a fly ball to fairly deep right center field his first time up, handled by Denard Span.
Kind of see why they're high on Chris Stratton. He's got a feel for pitching.
They think he and Ty Block will battle for, you know, a back end of the rotation spot next year. Ty Block's been really good.
Yeah, Rockies.
This ball's lined to left, and it's streaming down the line. Cargo will cruise into second with a leadoff double. You know, Labor Day is always a day that Cargo finds special.
I like the way he went with this pitch. See, 25th double this year. Just pitch me away, I'll take you away. And that's what he did. Slices it down into the corner, a leadoff double.
Moves that average up on Labor Day, closer to 500. Tying run at second. Here's Ian Desmond, who singled up the middle his first time. Inside. Hey, how about last year on Labor Day? against the Giants.
Against the Giants last year.
A grand slam. Desmond really waiting, trying to take a team at bat here and get Cargo to third.
These are part of the little things that we were talking about in the open. You know, little things add up to a big thing. So this is really a team at bat here. You're looking for something away from you that you can drive to right field, at minimum get that runner over. And see that swing right there. It was inside, but he fouled it off to the right side. And the pitch was up on the Subaru strike zone.
Now it's a little more survival mode as opposed to on.
But you can still do it. He's still trying to do it. And if you think about that still, even with the curveball, it'll help you stay back on that curveball and wait for it. That's the pitch he likes to strike guys out with.
Cargo at second, a leadoff double, 2-1 San Francisco in the fourth. And Desmond got a fastball and he swings through it, so there's one out. That'll bring up Lucroy. It's a big out from Stratton's perspective.
Huge.
Because of where you are in the lineup. You have a guy on deck who's a pitcher, and he's not quite the threat of Madison Bumgarner.
Well, and even if, you know, he's over at third with Jonathan up, you think, well, if I could just limit this just to the one run. But now you pitch Lucroy differently with the one out.
He gets a strike on a breaking ball.
This is a pick-me-up moment for the Rockies as a team. You know, Jonathan, get that base hit, pick up your teammate in Desmond. That's what this is right now.
One and one. Just two at bats with runners in scoring position. The Rockies 0 for 2 today after going 2 for 30 in that Arizona series. You know, it's the first time they ever played Arizona at Coors Field in a series without hitting a home run. 2-1. And on this homestand, they're 5 for 45 with runners in scoring position. They've never had a 6-game stretch at home. Actually, only one other time have they had a 6-game stretch at home where they were that poor with runners in scoring position. 2-1. 2-2.
Take it back to the last 13 games where they're hitting 140, the last 25 games where they're hitting 183 runners in scoring position. So it's just kind of been building.
Lucroy on the ground is short. And Bettis with 2 outs and Cargo at third. Pettis struck out swinging his first time up. And 0-1. 1-1.
Job of laying off that changeup.
Yeah, they forced Stratton with some good at bats to be in the upper 70s here in number of pitches here in the fourth.
Oh, that's
a
not
borderline
strike.
pitch. In fact,
That's
that's
not
not
even
borderline.
close. Look how far that's off the Subaru strike zone. Come on, Joe. I mean, that's not. That's ridiculous, is what it is.
That was not close. Toward the hole, base hit, Chad Bettis, tie ball game. First hit of the year for Bettis.
First RBI of the year for Chad. There you go. After that bad call on the second one.
Look who breaks through with runners in scoring position.
The pitcher. Shoots the hole, even gets it past a diving Joe Panic. All right, there you go.
And here's Charlie with a home run to right center his last time up. Boy, that was large by Bettis.
So was this home run by Charlie in the third. San Francisco was up 2-0. Gets a 2-0 pitch and some high fives for his 33rd home run of the year.
Outside. Where's Spilly? Is he in his rally seat? No, he's still in. Stay focused,
Stay
Spilly.
there.
I'm going to start heckling Hunter Pence.
Get after him a little bit. He's only 12 feet away from you.
Hit it to Hunter!
Hey, Spilly, you ever watch Impractical Jokers?
I've seen it a couple
All
times.
right, we're going to feed you lines. Okay?
All right, let's hear it.
UTA stinks. That's where he went to school.
What school was it?
Texas Arlington.
Texas Arlington, UTA Mavericks.
Mavericks stink!
Nice haircut.
Nice haircut, Pence.
Where's your other sleeve? Hunter clearly irritated.
Yes.
That's a strike, 3-2.
I think he'd throw him a fastball 3-1.
Hunter, you eat pizza with a fork.
Hunter, you eat pizza with the fork.
Charlie with a base hit. And Bettis will go first to third.
Well, the hit machine just keep piling it on. That is now his 60th multi-hit game of the year.
Dave Righetti's got to come out to the mound.
3-2, Subaru Supermo. Little fastball down and in. That's not where Huntley wanted it. They wanted it away. But Charlie made it pay for the mislocation. And Chad going first to third. And with that 60 multi-hit games, that's just 6 away from tying Dante Bichette's record, the one he set back in 1998.
Dodgers are playing later on tonight at home against Arizona. Justin Turner will bring a .332 average into the ball game. Charlie began the day at .340. He's up a couple points to .342.
125 at bats less than than Charlie, though.
DJ up the middle, base hit. Bettis scores, and the Rockies take a 3-2 lead. Boy, this is what has been missing for at least a week, if not longer. A 2-out rally, and the key man, Chad Bettis, with a bat.
And he was the one that started all of this. With that single to right, then Charlie with the single, and DJ on the Subaru Supermo, right back up the middle. Ground ball to drive in. Chad and DJ very happy. Nice work, Spilly.
Here's Nolan. 2 on, single, and a 6-4-3 double play. When we talk about guys feeling like they have to do it all themselves, even though nobody literally says I got to do it myself, but you try so hard when a club is slumping to come through. You know, Nolan puts enormous pressure on himself, especially where he hits in the lineup, who he is in the game.
Even with his 111 RBIs, which is tied with Stanton. But he does.
Well, you know who thinks he's probably going to hit one out right now? The entire Giant bench, because since the start of 2015, he's hit 17 home runs and driven in 64 against San Francisco. 1-1. 2-1. He's got 64 ribbies, partner, in 52 games against him. Think about that.
Like
and half those games are at AT&T.
Giants kryptonite.
Right. You can't score at BP at AT&T.
Nolan can't. But you're right. He just, you know, some guys just have that knack.
Off speed. He's out in front. 2-2.
They sniff the RBIs. They want it. They want to be in these situations. Keep it going, Spilly.
Spilly, many people when you were growing up thought that was your future behind bars, but we're so proud of you that this is all on your own that you're back there.
I'm really glad I didn't go behind bars either. Except I think I'd be a heck of a license plate maker.
Did a great job with the scoreboard today.
I'm not done.
I know. Keep it up.
It's hot back here.
I was going to say.
And with these boots and these pants that are a little bit too tight.
You're responsible for that.
Yeah.
It's all on you.
Stacy's trying to help you out. What's going on with that diet, dude?
Diet's still here. I had to admit something to her yesterday. So people don't know I've been on a vegetarian diet for the last 3 weeks. And yesterday in the food room they had bacon. Bacon counts as a vegetable, right?
George Frazier thought that was a vegetable.
I think so. I had it right next to broccoli and carrots. So I had bacon.
Two and 2 on Nolan. Good eye. 3-2. And now you're talking about Spilly and Huey. 91 pitches.
Well, Albert Suarez is up for the Giants because of that.
Stratton had been throwing the ball as a starter better than anybody in the Giants rotation. 3-2, runners will be moving. Held up, I think. No swing. So they're loaded up now for Parra. Checked it out with Andy Fletcher at first. He did hold up. Bruce Bochy didn't like the call.
No, he just threw his hand up just a moment ago to Andy. Take a peek on this side swing. I think he did. It's right at the edge. But of Corey Sullivan and I were talking about yesterday that it takes such strength to hold up on those pitches because you're so committed to swinging, and then your wrists have to be so strong.
Here's Parra. 0 for 1 and a walk, bases loaded. Ball 1. And I give Nolan again a ton of credit. You know how anxious he is. He hasn't swung it great the last week. Chance to do damage. The Rockies had just taken the lead. And he took, as you said, he took a team at bat. He's passing the baton now to Gerardo.
And Gerardo has to realize that Stratton's the one in trouble now.
Good swing. At third base, Blackman, he singled. DJ and RBI hits at second. And there's number 28. Rockies were down 2-0 in this ball game. Got a run on the home run in the third by Blackman. They have 2 and looking for more here in the fourth. Gerardo, just watching him, Huey, it's almost as if he's got 2 strikes on him. Just the way he eyeballed that baseball in the dirt off the outside corner.
You know what helps is his second at bat when he saw 8 or 9, 10 pitches for that walk against Stratton.
2-1. This is down the left field line, out of play.
This is where Gerardo was in that at bat when he walked. He'd fouled one back, he'd fouled a couple off to the left, took some pitches. Pretty deep in the outfield on the corners, and Pence, and in left field Mac Williamson. Denard Span playing pretty normal in center field as well as the infield straight up.
It's not a real fleet outfield if you get one in the gap. 2-2. Just got a piece. Stratton must feel like he's been out there for a day and a half.
And he had a chance to get out of this inning when Chad came up after Ian had struck out. Jonathan grounded out.
It's the biggest at bat of this game. Base hit from the most unlikely source.
And Chad's also now in the dugout where he's had a chance to sit down for a few minutes and get some water. Get ready to go back out and pitch.
This is the 38th pitch of the inning. 2-2. And ground ball to second to Panic, and getting there is Stratton to cover. So the Rockies will leave them loaded, but they do get 2 runs, and they take a 3-2 lead. Not a final yet. Not a final yet, Spilly, but hopefully. CenturyLink high-speed challenge question of the day. Go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote, and we'll show you the results during the Toyota postgame show. What's your favorite summer holiday? Memorial Day, July 4th, or Labor Day? I love the 4th of July, Huey.
Yes.
I'm partial also to Memorial Day. Not just we honor all of those that have served, and it also is the kickoff of the barbecue season, the summer season. So I'm going to go with the first two. Can I have both A and B? Not that I have anything against Labor Day.
I mean,
but
you can only vote for one, but you can like all three of them.
So I'm going to tell you a story. Here's Nick Hundley. You can vote for more than one. This takes me back. How old am I now? I'm younger
54.
than you. Okay, 54. So I have to do the math on this. This takes me back like 36 years ago. This is a fly ball to center field, pretty well hit. But Charlie thinks he has a play and does.
Hundley's
a long
right
out.
center field.
Yep. Fortunately. 1 out, 6 in a row retired by Bettis. That'll bring up Mac Williamson. So I'm taking an SAT course, right?
Okay.
Before the SATs. And the guy who's teaching the course, wonderful gentleman who's no longer with us, Bill Gray, he played basketball at Harvard, 6'8". He was enormous, especially for back then. He played at Harvard in like the 30s, right? And he asked me for my response on a particular question, and I said I had C. And he said, let me look at this. He said, you know, the answer is supposed to be D. He goes, but I think C is a good answer also. You marked yourself correct on that one.
No wonder you got into Ithaca.
Yeah, there you go.
Helping you with the SAT.
Either one worked. I wish that was how it really rolled.
Uh-huh.
Well, it'll be a short day for Strat. Williamson with an 0-1 count, and he hits it on the ground at Nolan, cuts in front, and he makes the play. 2 outs.
You can watch The Drive to the Pennant with MLB.tv every night on every device. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live, plus get a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Visit MLB.tv for more details.
So Carlos Moncrief's going to be the pinch hitter with 2 outs and nobody on. Moncrief has just a handful of at-bats at the big league level this year. His 10th year of professional baseball. Originally a Cleveland Indians pick in the 14th round of the 08 draft as a pitcher. About guys who converted.
Yeah, converted from pitching to the outfield in 2010.
Chipola Junior College in Florida. We were talking about that school the other day. Patrick Corbin went there.
Still Albert Suarez warming up for the Giants in their bullpen, so he'll be the new pitcher.
Three-2 Rockies. 1-2. That'll end the inning. Moncrief walks off. Chad with a strong 5th. He's retired 8 in a row. 3-2 Colorado. Time to check our unlimited baseball break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Here's some of the scores, and a big one. Cincinnati with 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth in a 4-4 game. Billy Hamilton, of all people, hit a walk-off home run. It's good news for the Rockies. They lead Milwaukee currently by a game now in the wild card chase. Arizona opening up a series tonight in Los Angeles against the Dodgers. Our unlimited baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. Albert Suarez, as Huey had alluded to, is now in the ball game. The Rockies run off Chris Stratton after just 4 innings, and again, Stratton had come in super hot, 0.96 ERA over his previous 3, which included 2 10-strikeout performances.
Yeah, 1 against Washington, 1 against Arizona. Today, the Rockies kind of just pecked away at Stratton. Suarez is really their long guy now. He's worked multiple innings in 8 out of his 13 games. He's also missed a lot of time this year with a calf injury.
Fool's mark there on a breaking ball. It's 1-2.
His curveball. His fastball throw about 50% of the time. It's 94 miles an hour. Next pitch is that curveball, 23-24% of the time, and right at the speed we just saw a moment ago.
Chris Stratton, the Rockies, and this is a good sign. Yeah, they have the lead. It's 3-2. You don't have a crooked number up there, but it gives you an idea how they were working at bats. They forced him to throw 98 pitches in 4 innings. 98 pitches in 4 innings.
It's a ton. When your hope that 15, 16 pitches in the inning is all you have to throw. That last half inning, it was well into the 30s, almost 40 at 38.
2-2 on Reynolds. 1 out. Cargo will come up. Cargo got the rally going last inning, Huey.
And a leadoff double, his 25th of the year.
Seen a few more hits go in that direction.
You just see a few more at bats now where he's getting himself in great hitters count.
94 is up in the zone.
So many times early in the season, even halfway through the season, where you'd look up at the scoreboard, it was an 0-2 count on Cargo before he could blink.
You know, this very forgettable year for Cargo thus far. He is a team guy first and foremost, and he can make it from an individual standpoint passable if he can have the kind of September he's capable of and help this club get to the postseason. And that, I guarantee you, and you know this to be true also, that's all he's thinking about right now.
Yes.
He's not thinking about, man, it's been a brutal 5 months
What's
for me
What's going
personally.
to happen to me?
What happens at the end of the year? He's thinking about helping this club any way he can get back to where they were in 09, and he was a big part of that. And he draws a walk here with 1 out.
But even see how quickly he threw the bat down and started running to first?
He's like, let's go.
Let's go. Exactly.
You know that old line, Huey, that states true characters are revealed not when things are going well, but when there's a little bit of turmoil and the chips are down. Learn a lot about a guy. Cargo has handled this tough year very, very well. I think it's why he's one of the all-time fan favorites. When you talk about all-time Rockies, man, he's on that list.
And a teammate favorite.
Oh, no question. 2 pretty good players right there visiting. Outside, 2-0 count on Desmond. Span shading slightly toward right center field. Big gap in left center.
Huge gaps.
Desi this year hitting .387 against the Giants. He's got a 2-0 count to work with. Two and one. Cargo's going to get some information from Tony Diaz right now that's favorable to run. And Cargo does not run much anymore, but he was almost 1-5 to the plate there.
And that's what you want to know. Cargo 3 stolen bases on the year has not been caught, but at 1-5, you don't even have to get a great jump.
Not going up the middle, and Panic loves it and turns it into a 4-3 inning-ending double play. So we move from the 5th to the 6th inning. The Rockies lead the Giants 3-2 on this Labor Day. Performance of the day. Chad Bettis has given up a couple solo home runs, but not much else. In fact, he's given up only one other hit through 75 pitches in 5 innings. As the Rockies in front 3-2. He also has an RBI single, first hit of the year. Now in the 6th inning, we'll see the Giants' 3rd time through the order. It'll be Span, Panic, and Posey. Span a home run. Panic, who's on deck, a home run. Span's home run came in the 3rd. Chris Russin is up just in case, and that curveball's low.
76 pitches for Chad. 51 for strikes.
Given where the Giants are in the lineup and the aforementioned 2 guys that begin the inning with home runs, this is a large inning for Chad Bettis. Rockies up a run, and a late awarding of time by Joe West. 1 ball, 1 strike.
But you want to make sure that, you know, with Chad and what he's done just with the 2 solo shots, that you have somebody ready to go this 3rd time through.
Line to left. Parra lays out. Couldn't make the catch. It'll be a leadoff double.
Boy, what an effort from Gerardo, because he was playing that way. Got a great jump on this. And this ball was right down the 3rd base line. 28th double this season for Span. The other thing that it is doing too is it's slicing away from Gerardo. He lays out. Watch how close this is on the Subaru Supermo. Didn't quite get there, but short hops, it kept it in front of him so that ball doesn't go to the wall. I know it's a double, but if that gets by him, that's a triple.
Panic, a home run, a line out to center. Ball one.
Well, so far this year, even with that hit by Denard Span, third time through the lineup for Chad, 231 coming into today. This is a sticky situation now.
And this is the guy Boch wants up because Panic does not strike out much. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Very high contact rate, one of the top in the game. He's a left-handed version of DJ. Where, you know, well, they'll see a lot of pitches.
Yeah, 2 swings and misses, 1 and 2. Now you need 1 more.
He's been right down at the bottom of the zone to Panic.
Giants last in baseball in OPS. Last in slugging. And he gets the job done. In fact, he's going to get the run home. 3-3 game. Double by Span, single by Panic. Those 2 guys have provided the Giants with all of their offense today.
4 of the 5 hits that the Giants have come between Denard Span and Joe Panic. Choked up Joe Panic is on the Subaru Supermo. He is just trying to get that ball in place somewhere. Just pull it to the right side. He found the hole. I mean, that is just a professional at bat. He had 2 strikes, swung through 2 change-ups. They go back to another change-up, and he just put it in a good spot.
Here's Posey. Single and a strikeout for Buster. The
last 2 pitches out of the hand on the Subaru strike zone. 1 fastball, 1 curveball, both high. Chad, this is smart on his part. He backed off because the last 2 he's really overthrown both of them. So he's reminding himself to stay back over the rubber. There you go. Good adjustment, Chad.
2-1 on the 2012 MVP Buster Posey, who from an early age was destined, you would think, to get here. Great stars, everybody knows, at Florida State, or I think most people know. He grew up on a 50-acre plot of land in southern Georgia, and they had a ball field in the front yard that when the fields around town were not playable, they held practice there for his Little League. Car going right.
Boy, the wind really took that ball. That'd be pretty nice. Why don't you do that at your house, Drew? Build a nice little fire. I know you got the cage in your barn.
Yeah. There were thoughts of that at one point. Past the half for contributions. Gonna go over to the Houston household. Get a double switch here is with Crawford coming up and get Rustin in the ball game.
Be Reynolds is coming out.
Mark's going to come out. Desi's going to give up the infielder glove for a first baseman's glove, and you'll see Trevor Story is my guess. We'll sort it out when we come back. 3-3 as Chad walks off.
6th inning as we see Trevor Story making some throws over to first base as he came in for Ian Desmond, who flipped over to first, but pretty good return to shortstop for Ian Desmond today. 3 ground ball outs. The first one nice and easy to him, just like you would do out in the backyard. This one's a lot tougher. He had range to his left, make an off-balance throw. And then the 3rd out of the inning, comes and gets it. Just like he's done 913 other starts at shortstop, but now he's got the first baseman mitt on as they do the double switch with Chris Russin coming into the ball game. Chad Betta's done for the day, but Chris Russin, 50th ball game, 3-0, 73 innings pitched, a very low whip at 107, coming in to face the left-hander and Brandon Crawford. Keep this ball game at 3-3. Crawford in his career against Chris, 5 for 7, and one of those 5 includes a home run. Chris is looking for the double play. That's what he's hoping.
Steve Foster, Buddy Black looking on through the haze exacerbated by the fires to the northwest of us in Montana. 3-3 score with Crawford at the plate. Panic at first. 1 out. Here's a strike. Chad Bettis goes 5 1/3, 87 pitches.
He had 8 ground ball outs to go along with just the 3 flyouts.
And did not walk anybody.
No. And you can deal with the solo home runs. Solo home runs are not going to beat you.
Stratton, who was gone after 4 innings, had given up a home run to Blackman in the game. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and missed. It's 0-2. The reason I mention that is their rotation, pitching half their games at AT&T Park, where it's hard to hit home runs, hard to score runs, has given up the 4th most home runs in the National League. When their starters give up a home run, their record is 20-60.
Giving up 116 coming into the game for their starters, including 13 in their last 10 ball games.
Again, if you pitch half your games at Coors Field, you say, okay, that, you know, we get that.
Understandable.
Half your games at Citizens Bank Park, half your games at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. You're going to give up some home runs. Those are great hitters' parks. Not AT&T. You're looking at Johnny Cueto in the middle there. One and 2 on Crawford. Russin's got him. 2 outs. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Pablo Sandoval, switch hitting 3rd baseman. He's 0 for 2.
Boy, they just worked Brandon Crawford in the same spot with the same pitch. Little tight little slider down and away from him, strike out, and then this is why he also went to this matchup, because Pablo Sandoval is just 1 for 22 hitting right-handed.
He's also 0 for his last 29.
Longest 0 for in his stretch in his career.
The league ERA at Coors Field this year is 5.42. The league ERA in San Francisco at AT&T Park is 3.71.
What was the first one?
5.42 here.
Okay.
3.71.
Wow.
China Basin.
Rockies still have a couple more games out in San Francisco.
Yeah, just 2.
Just 2, yeah.
Strange little schedule. They're going to have a little revenge on their mind. Last time they were in San Francisco, they got swept by the Giants. Rockies here have won 8 straight against San Francisco. (7-0) this year. And the games have not been particularly close.
The Rockies have outscored in the first 7 games, outscored them 64-36.
One and 2 with 2 outs. Panic at first. And this kicks away. And on a wild pitch. Now Panic at second base. Chris had a wild pitch in his last outing that was costly. Fired the ball off camera into his glove. He's upset with himself.
Remember that wild pitch too was after he didn't complete the 1-2-3 double play on that comebacker. They didn't quite get that one. That would have wiped out that inning. It'd have been done with it.
Yeah, and I would think that the 2 best fielding pitchers for the Rockies are Kyle Freeland and Chris Russell.
Yes, no doubt about it. And the guys that aren't, you know, they don't start to short arm the ball when they throw it.
And really athletic.
Yeah.
They get to a lot of baseballs as well. There's Freeland.
That was just that bad game for the Rockies. They also had 3 errors. But here you're just 1 pitch away from getting out of this inning and being done with it. Bring your bats back up in the bottom of the 6th.
(2-2) on the ground to Story, and he makes a great play to Desmond. Gets the glove salute from the Rockies first baseman in the first 5 innings. Ian Desmond. Nice play by Trevor. A run for the Giants has tied it at 3. Middle of 6th.
Family, Brayden and Sally Greiser, they welcome their brand new baby girl, Franny James, along with their older daughter, Ruby. We got a new one in the family, a beautiful family of 4. So congratulations to the Greiser family.
Now, Brayden, you are really outnumbered, dude. But congrats. What a beautiful family. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Man, that is terrific. Brayden's about 6 months away from putting that baby girl on skates. Brayden's a really good hockey player.
Better golfer.
He's a good golfer, too. Lives a life of Riley. Lucroy's going to lead it off, then Story and Blackman. Second inning of work for Albert Suarez in relief of Chris Stratton. We're tied at 3, bottom of the 6th inning. Rockies have out-hit the Giants 8-5. Lucroy, a walk and a ground ball to short. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. When you've had a tough year like San Francisco, 31 games beneath 500, there's a long list of things that have not gone well. And one of those areas that needs repair is their bullpen. So consistent for so many years.
It kind of needed repair after last year.
Their bullpen is 24th in ERA in baseball. Again, pitching in a great yard to throw the baseball in.
We talked about their numbers out at AT&T Park.
It's a good curveball. 2-2.
4.49 bullpen ERA. That's the 5th highest in the National League. Washington at the top of that list.
Their bullpen's improved though with some of their additions. This ball ripped. Oh man. Sandoval got up and stole a double from Jonathan Lucroy.
We talked about some of the quickness that he has. Might not look like it. This was a quick athletic move. Gets up. That ball was hit hard. He reaches for it, times it the leap perfectly.
Football, they talk about it being short area quickness.
Always been a fan favorite of the San Francisco faithful.
Here's Story's first at bat.
You guys are talking quickly about the Giants bullpen and the struggles. Well, today it was known for Mark Melanson. Mark Melanson from Colorado will have to undergo surgery to alleviate chronic exertional compartment syndrome in his right forearm.
It sounds like something you don't want to have.
Yeah.
Now it's a rare muscular syndrome.
Well, Mark out of Golden, and we wish him all the best. The word is, here's the 1-1 fouled off. The word is that they believe, despite the fact that there's a lot of consonants and vowels in that malady he has, that he will be ready for next spring. Talking to Bochy this morning. He hasn't had many tough years. This one's a bit difficult. And Story gone on a breaking ball. 2 outs. And that'll bring up Blackman. Charlie is 2 for 3, including a home run in the 3rd. Ball for strike 1 on Chuck Nasty. 342 batting average, leading the National League. Going to become yet another Colorado Rockies batting champion. Follow up his buddy from last year, LeMahieu. Trying to make incremental movements forward offensively. Visually, it seems like better at bats today.
Yes.
You had 8 hits.
And you also have 4 walks.
Right. However, you're still looking up on the board. And there's that ugly number we've seen so frequently, 3.
Which they've done in the last 14 games. 9 times they scored 3 runs or less. And the other 5 times are 2 runs or less.
Yeah. Whipping around.
It is.
And Charlie chops this off of Panic, and he's not going to get him. The Gold Glove second baseman commits a boo-boo, and the Rockies with 2 outs have Blackman aboard.
8th there of the year for Joe Panik. Somewhat of an in-between hop, but this was just clanked. He just clanks it off the heel of his, oh, excuse me, the edge of his glove. I thought that came up and got him up on the heel. He just didn't work underneath the baseball, catch the bottom half of it.
Now, based on what Tony Diaz learned on Suarez, I'm shocked that Charlie takes off early. 2 outs, DJ at the plate. 145 plus to the plate.
See if he changes it up with a more of a base stealing threat than Cargo was when he was out there.
I don't think there's a ton of downside here. If Charlie were to get thrown out, next inning, you lead off with LeMahieu. Not going. Outside.
Much quicker that time.
Yeah, he did speed it up.
Just at 1-1-7. Get another read on it. So Charlie knows all of this information, so he'll get his lead. If he feels like he can go, obviously he'll go, but there's also that clock in your head. If he's too fast, you stop.
Now he was more deliberate.
That was 1-5-5.
Now it's an interesting count because he likes his curveball. And it's a count where that curveball may show up. These are all the things, right? Going through your head
exactly.
as a base runner.
Exactly. And even if I don't think I'm going to steal, I'm still trying to steal a sign from Nick Hundley at home. Is it going to be a curveball where I can anticipate a ball down in the dirt?
Charlie started to go and didn't really like his jump. 2-1.
Well, that's the other component. Do you see how his feet, it was kind of slipped out from underneath him?
When you were at first, and Hugh, you would steal some bags. Could you read the tension, the muscles in the forearm?
Yes. Yeah, and that's
we're talking
what I would
about
do.
the catcher,
the
Nick
change up.
Hundley.
Yeah, I would do that. Get your lead. You have to get it early enough, though.
Pulled hard, but it's at Sandoval, and it'll go to Panik. That ends the inning. We go to the 7th, tied at 3. It's time for our BFW game summary. Denard Span, a home run. Joe Panik, solo home run as well for San Francisco. The Rockies have a solo home run from their home run leader, Charlie Blackman. His 33rd of the year. Rockies had a 3-2 lead. And then Joe Panik tied it up with a base hit behind in the count to drive home Denard Span. It's been those first 2 guys in the lineup that have hurt the Rockies today. Span and Panic. So we're 3-3, top of the 7th. Chad Bettis went 5 1/3. Final 2 outs recorded in the 6th by Russin, and now it's the birthday boy Pat Neshek. Happy 37th to Pat. He's been in a good place of late. He's ahead of Hunter Pence, 0-1. Pence a fly ball to left and a ground ball to short.
Two-thirds of an inning in the Arizona series for Pat. Those 2/3, both of them were strikeouts.
You were still running around a big league diamond when you were 37.
Barely. I was
jogging
more
around.
of a light jog.
Light jog.
Silent J.
Ground ball right side. DJ's there. Moves his feet. 1 out.
We got some big happenings here coming up in the middle of September. You can celebrate the 10th anniversary of the historic 21-22 Rocktober run with the 2007 teammates coaches on Friday, September 15th. Enjoy a special pregame celebration and more. Go to Rockies.com/reunion for more details, or just hit up Spilly because he's the host of all of it that weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Big party. Everyone's invited. It'll be at Coors Field Friday night.
And you've already gone on record as saying, too, on Sunday, you might not be at the top of your game. I know you said that earlier.
I mean, like, I don't know whenever I am on top of my game, but certainly that Sunday,
okay.
I probably would have seen better days.
Okay.
Do you know how you were heckling Pence earlier in the ball game?
Yeah.
We're going to heckle you on that Sunday.
You know what was funny? So I really wanted, after Joe Panic made his error at second base, because I had this conversation with Chris Valleca, or Pat Valleca. Chris is his brother. Pat was playing a baseball game at UC Santa Barbara, made an error, and the hecklers, this should be an easy play, the hecklers at UC Santa Barbara yelled at Pat Valleca that he had sausage fingers.
Sausage fingers.
So I figured, since we yelled at Hunter Pence, that it would have been proper to yell at Joe Panic that he had sausage fingers, but you guys broke down stealing a base, and I didn't feel like the punchline.
So tomorrow, I want you to be an intrepid reporter
and go see if he actually has brats for fingers.
No, he doesn't have brats for fingers. I want you to go do a one-on-one with Pence and see if he heard you. Mac Williamson with 2 outs. Good pitch. Hunter Strickland get loose in the Giants bullpen.
Finish up, wrap a little sausage around this story. Valleca did say he was rattled being called sausage fingers. It still sticks with them today.
Traumatized, I think, was the term he used, wasn't it?
Yep.
Five years of therapy. Patty Barrows is good again.
See ya.
Great pitch by Neshek. What an inning. 2-week ground balls to second for the birthday boy, and a punch out of Williamson. Time to get some runs as we have reached stretch time at Coors Field on this Labor Day. And we'll stick around for a rendition of God Bless America, being performed today by the Colorado National Guard's Army Band and Sergeant Brian Person. Enjoy, everybody.
Fans, please rise as we honor our great country by the performance of God Bless America. Performing God Bless America today, representing the Colorado National Guard's 101st Army Band, is Sergeant Brian Person. Please welcome Sergeant Person and join him by singing along to God Bless America.
Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T SportsNet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Here we go in the bottom of the 7th inning. Hunter Strickland's now on the mound, and the Rockies have Nolan Arenado at the plate. He takes ball 1. Strickland has not pitched well of late. His last 10 outings, he's allowed 7 runs. Actually, it's covering just 8 2/3 those 10 outings. The opposition hitting .350 against him.
14 for 40 against Strickland.
1-1. Nolan 2 for 10 lifetime against Strickland. One for 2 and a walk today for Nolan. 2-1. Suarez went 2 innings. Did not allow a hit or a run. Walked 1, struck out 2. Overall, the numbers on Hunter Strickland.
Not bad when you're looking at it in 59 games at 296, but a pretty high whip when you're 155.
Awfully high. And when you're talking about coming out of a bullpen, typically working, higher leverage innings, the opponent batting average 266, pretty high.
Yeah. Well, and Strickland isn't a multi-inning guy. He's a 1 inning, maybe 2/3. Yeah, a sprinter, 2/3 of an inning.
Jake McGee getting ready for the Rockies. Nolan's upset. He had a pitch to hit. And now Penn's battling the wind. Makes the catch.
I say it's supposed to cool off here tonight into tomorrow. The high tomorrow's only going to be 70, so you're getting a little bit of that early front coming in. Wind blowing very hard in from right center field.
And that haze that's been going on due to the smoke from Montana, he said, in the fires, it's making it, the backdrop looking up into the sun, it's really difficult for an outfielder, especially in right field. You'll lose the baseball.
Between the sun and the haze?
Yes.
Swung on and missed by Gerardo.
It's kind of got that feeling, too, of when you had the eclipse a couple weeks ago. What it looks like.
Pitcher spot is next after Parra. Mike Tauchman is swinging a bat with not a donut on it, but a weighted bat.
I like that.
Remember, and I'm trying to think, it's so long ago, Huey, I don't even know if you were in the big leagues yet. Remember when they used to swing the one with the wind resistance on it, the big fan?
Yeah.
Did you guys have that?
I had that one.
That worked.
It did, but it just felt weird, though, when you were swinging it. At least with that donut, or that round thing on it, it still feels okay. It doesn't feel unnatural. That fan, yeah, I remember that. You swing it a bit like...
A little sound to it.
This is what I'm talking about right here. That thing right there. That's nice. I like that.
Every on deck circle now has just the weighted. What's that thing? A few pounds. The what would you call that? You know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not just the weighted bat.
The sledgehammer without the
hammer on the end, or the wood portion of it.
Now, I think there's some science behind if you swing the weighted bat, it actually slows down your swing.
Yeah.
What you're supposed to do is maybe take 1 or 2 with the weighted bat and then swing a lighter bat than your actual bat. So you could have an entire on-deck circle filled with bats over there.
Yeah, they've done studies on that, Spilly. And
quick twitch muscles.
You're absolutely right. But it feels like the bat's lighter. And I think that psychologically he's got to count for something, right? 0-2. And this is a ground ball to Panic.
It's almost the same ball that he booted the 6th.
Nice play by Sausage Fingers.
He did want to work that in again.
Make sure you celebrate Latin cultures during Dia de los Rockies on Saturday, September 16th, presented by Sprint, featuring Latin musical entertainment, pregame Latin cultural celebration, and more. The first 10,000 fans will also receive a Los Rockies t-shirt. That is Saturday, September 16th.
So Ryan McMahon now will take the at-bat, not Tauchman. We had this situation a day or two ago, but he's feeling as if there was a man on, he'd utilize Tauchman in less than 2 outs, but now with 2 outs, nobody on, he'll try to get a big swing out of McMahon, but he gets a broken back roller. 1-2-3 inning for Strickland in the 7th. We move on to the 8th, tied at 3. Might have to send Spilly back into the scoreboard. The Rockies had the lead when Spilly went inside the scoreboard. It's tied at 3 as we go to the top of the 8th with Ryan Spilborghs and Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman, our entire AT&T Sportsnet crew. Glad you're spending this Labor Day with us. Jake McGee. Jake will handle the 8th inning. He'll get Kelby Tomlinson off the bench, and then Denard Span and Joe Panic.
The right-hander and then 2 left-handers for Jake. In a real good spot, working on 7 2/3 scoreless.
That's a guy you really. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and also 17 out of his last 20 games has not been scored upon.
Yeah, he's pitching well. This is clearly a guy you don't want to see on base because he runs really well. Tomlinson pinch hitting.
For 37 as a pinch hitter.
Excellent. Tomlinson out of Texas Tech. Just like Chad Bettis. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chad started today, went 5 1/3. Allowed the 3 runs on 5 hits. Gave up a couple solo home runs. 1 to Panic in the 1st, 1 to Span in the 3rd. Really, those were the only 2 guys he had any issues with.
4 of the 5 hits were those guys.
And they were 4 for 6. The rest of the lineup was 1 for whatever. 1 for a bunch. It's on the bullpens now. Inside, 2-2. Neshek on his 37th birthday. Pitched a terrific 7th inning. 2 ground balls and a strikeout of Mac Williamson.
And just 9 pitches to boot.
Tomlinson, solid contact to center. Charlie got a great read. Spilly, not a fun day, and you were describing it, to play the outfield, and not just because of the haze, but the wind keeps shifting.
Yeah, it's howling around. You can look at the center field flags above the rock pile, and it's almost like they're blowing in. And they start blowing towards left field, and if it blows towards left field, that means the jet stream pushes out towards right. Got to know these things.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you were playing out there, did you look at a certain group of flags, or did you find that it could fool you?
It can fool you. That's my point. If you look and see the scoreboard, and the flags above the scoreboard are blowing towards left field. In fact, they're blowing out towards third base. If you see that, you know the jet stream pushes it out to right. The other time is when you see it blowing straight in. We see that all the time. Then you know as a right fielder that you have to come running in because the wind's going to blow it in.
You were probably playing then. Do you know how George used to describe? Here's the 1-1. This is a base hit for Span. Boy, he's had a day. Came in 1 for 15. He's 3 for 4. Do you remember how George used to describe when the flags were dormant, just laying there?
What would he say?
He'd say the wind's blowing straight down.
Miss that guy.
Oh boy, George.
Talked to him this morning. But love and kisses to everybody on the crew.
Okay. Panic 1 for 5 in his previous matchups with Jake. Got a little bit of speed with Denard at first. 8 stolen bases. Also been caught 6 times.
Strike 1. 96 on that fastball. I'm talking to Jake recently. He feels really fresh. He feels good. The velocity, the consistent velocity, Huey.
He's carried it from way back in the World Baseball Classic. He's doing 98 in March. When I saw that the first time when he went out of the hill in March, and I forget what game it was in, but we're watching it, and I saw that from Jake. I said, hey, he's going to have a good year.
Yeah, it's going to be a different year. Yeah. And you have to have your legs. And he battled that knee issue last year. You know, Jake, you guys will appreciate this. As lefties go, really normal guy. Good guy. Not that lefties are bad guys, but really normal. Right?
Yes, normal for a lefty.
So is Mike Dunn. The Rockies don't have the peculiar lefty.
That off the wall lefty.
Yeah, the guy with the crooked hat. Play catch with him and everything's moving.
Yeah, you mean in a nice way.
Yes, absolutely, in a very complimentary way. Spilly ought to have been a lefty. 1 ball, 1 strike. And to center field, Charlie's going to have to field it on a hop. And now the Giants have runners at first and second, 1 out. And here comes Buster Posey.
The top 2 guys each have 3 hits. 6 hits between the 2 of them, and
the rest of the lineup.
And Buster's the only other guy. Remember, he had the blue pit to right field.
Yeah. The rest of the lineup, 1 for 21. Now, Posey, obviously a great player, but he's also grounded into 14 double plays, which is tied with Brandon Crawford, who's on deck for the club lead. 1-0 on Posey. Strikeout and a fly ball to right in addition to that bloop single Huey mentioned. McGee trying to keep it 3-3 in the 8th.
This is one of those hard to kind of fathom things. Jake McGee and Buster Posey have not matched up before.
You would have thought last year, obviously Jake was in Tampa, so you understand it when you think about all those years, but last year when you played 19 times
Right.
and you've already played this year a bunch, how that's never occurred.
No, I had to double check with Doug to make sure my eyes weren't deceiving me.
Well, hopefully advantage Jake McGee then. Posey's swing, Huey, is one of those swings since the moment he came into the league. It's a great looking swing, and it hasn't changed.
No. His setup, his stance, his hand positioning, the follow through.
And I suppose with everything he did as an amateur at Florida State, why would you change?
It's very simple. Got a bit wider than shoulder width apart base.
Rockies set for 2. 1 out, 2 on. 1 and 2.
He went, check him. Check him. You can hear the dugout too. They were yelling to check it. No?
He held up.
That was, remember the one Nolan had earlier in the game? Those two were right.
Very similar.
Very similar. Andy Fletcher both times said nope. I was going to say step off.
Smart by Jake McGee.
Well, and also I just saw DJ just pointed to Jake. He pointed to his eye. That is a sign to say, keep an eye on me. I might flash and try a daylight. So flash the hand for a pickoff.
2-2. Double play ball. Here's one. Plenty of time for DJ. 15th time Posey is hit into a double play. McGee works out of a little situation. To the bottom of the 8th we go in a 3-3 ball game. Baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get you 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. 3-3, bottom of the 8th inning. And I don't know if I've ever seen this before, because the Giants have made an announcement about their high-priced closer, the former Golden High product, Mark Melancon, and you rolled out all those long words about what he's going to have to do in the off season to get well, and we were under the impression, that his season was done. Well, here's Mark Melancon in his hometown on the mound.
And maybe it's one last hurrah that he wants to pitch in front of some family and friends, because he's already been on the DL twice with that elbow problem. 3 games against the Rockies on the year, 2 1/3, 4 hits, 4 runs. That equates to a 15.43 ERA and a 3.64 batting average against.
You know he's going to throw that changeup. It's Cargo on the first pitch. It's 0-1. Cargo a double and a run scored in the 4th. He's 1 for 2 and a walk. 8th inning, 3-3. Any way you can get on. One out. That'll bring up Ian Desmond. Who wants tacos? Folks, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies get 7 in a ball game. Desmond a single, a strikeout, and he grounded into a double play. Started the ball game at short, played well there. And then in a double switch, Reynolds came off the field, Story in at short, and Ian's now at first base. Ball, 1 strike.
That's the second time today that I can remember that it's been so far off the Subaru strike zone that Joe West has called it a strike away. The other one was to Chad.
1-2. Strikes out Desmond, 2 outs. I think what you're seeing from Melancon is a guy that could very easily, with the torn forearm muscle, which we gave the fancy language earlier, that's what he's dealing with. He's been on the DL twice. Huey told you that. He very easily shut it down. The Giants obviously have been done for a while. But I think, you know, first year of a lucrative deal, he wants to show his new club that he could care less about that. It's about, you know, pitching through pain, which clearly, you know, he's been doing. Here's Lucroy with 2 outs against Melancon.
I think that's a great point when you're 31 games under 500. I mean, a lot of guys just say, done, I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and get it done. That's the way I'm 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks into my rehab. This shows, to me, it shows the teammates more than anything that, you know, I'm still here and I'm not shutting it down.
Rockies have not had a hit, let's look this up, since DJ's RBI single in the 4th inning, and it looked like they were starting to put a nice run together offensively. There's a strike. We're talking about 2 outs in the 8th inning now. Rockies had 8 hits in the first 3 2/3, nothing since. And Spilly, trying to get things right, has returned to the scoreboard.
Come on!
It's hot in there.
It is really hot.
3-1. Now, if Lucroy reaches, I know you really don't want to do this because Hunter Pence is a good guy, and you guys are, you know, former, you know, competitors. Your brethren is former big leaguers, or he's a current big leaguer. But you may have to heckle him again because it worked last time.
Hit it to Pence.
There you go. All right, Lucroy reaches with 2 outs. That'll bring up Stories for his second at bat. Imagine what's going through Hunter's mind. Who the heck is this yelling at me?
I don't think I'm yelling it quite loud enough.
Probably just thinks it's somebody underneath in the party zone out there. Mike Tauchman will go in as a pinch runner.
I want to double down the right field line. Let it kick around over here.
That'd be a good call.
I think that's why they put Tauchman out there. Sometimes you wouldn't do that with 2 outs. You'd wait till maybe he gets to second base. But with the big outfield and the slowness of a couple of them, if you get it in the gap, you can score from first.
Ball 1 on Story. Struck out on a breaking ball away in the 6th inning against Albert Suarez.
And if you're Trevor too, that's what you got to be thinking, that they're not going to pitch me inside. If I'm going to beat them, I'm going to have to beat them to right center field, because they're not going to give me anything inside.
And Tauchman reads the dirt ball and scampers to second. Wild pitch, go ahead run in scoring position.
Lanson overamped this slider. It went down to block it, but it was spinning so hard it kicked away, and now you definitely got the speedy guy at second base. Then off the glove, then off the forearm, and then the shin guard.
Span shortens up in center field, 2-0. And that is foul. And the Giants are fortunate because there's no way Sandoval was going to throw out Trevor. Story will walk back, catch his breath. We'll have a 2-1 count when we resume.
Where's this ball?
It's the right call.
Yeah, it was.
Got a baby Spilligus. Yankees 7, Baltimore Spilly.
I got you guys.
Two-1. I was coming your direction, Spilly.
Everybody's trying to do their part today.
I know it. Just need a ball and play over here. Hit it here.
Anything.
What happens? Very low percentage. What happens if the ball flies in that window where Spilly is?
Don't worry, I'll put this thing right back up.
Angle it too. Bounce it away from Pence.
So I'll just put it right back up. It's like a shield.
2-2. 3-2. Blackman's on deck.
Again, for Trevor, eliminate anything inside. You can even be diving on this one away.
Mike Tauchman running for Jonathan Lucroy in the 8th. We're tied at 3. Strike 3 call. End of inning. Well, he went away, as you said he would, and he got the strikeout. We'll go to the 9th. 3-3.
The Rockies and the Giants, Corey, have totaled 7 runs. Above Spilly's head is a 7.
Yes. So does that mean that there's a run coming in the bottom of the 9th?
That's what I'm anticipating, right, Spilly?
That's what we need.
We need another run in the bottom of the 9th.
Yes. I think it's coming. You can see a much better approach that's happening from the Rockies hitters. Led off by Cargo in that 4th inning. You saw Desmond trying to get him over. They need to find a way to cap it off in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, I think Drew said that the Rockies haven't had any hits, let alone runs, since the 4th inning when they put up 2. So here we go to the 9th, tied at 3 as we go back to Drew and Huey.
All right, fellas, thanks very much. Greg Holland's on the mound for the Rockies. It's 4, 5, and 6 for the Giants. Brandon Crawford, Pablo Sandoval, and Hunter Pence.
Greg threw an inning yesterday, had a strikeout. A couple scoreless now back-to-back for Greg.
Slider wasn't perfect. It was a little better yesterday.
Yes, it was. Tony Walters behind the plate after Mike Tauchman pinch ran for Jonathan Lucroy.
Oh, and 1 on Crawford. You know, that last pitch to Story, you were all over it, Hugh. You said he's going to go away, look away. But this pitch is off the plate.
Badly off the plate.
Good fastball. 0-2.
And I think that's the key for Greg to get that slider back, is to command the fastball. Have that command, because then that helps get the swing and misses on the sliders. If you can't command the fastball, hitters will just spit on that and say, no, I'm going to, this hole at bat, I'll look for the slider. But when you can locate your fastball, you throw the slider, that's when you get the swing and misses.
Let's see, it was a fastball stance from Tony Walters.
95 on that last fastball.
Rockies trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. 1-2. And that's a slider, bounce to first, 1 out. And that had depth, and it also had location to it.
Because the release point for the fastball and the slider, you have to get out in front. So when you have the release point of the fastball, this helps the depth of the slider. That's what he was doing early in the year, getting that ball down and then late movement at the end. Watch how long it stays on plane. On the Subaru Supermo, Crawford can just reach for it, hit the top half of the baseball.
DJ will slide into the outfield at second base. Story stays on the left side, albeit barely, for Pablo Sandoval, who's 0 for 3. Set the ball on the ground 3 times. Ball 1. For his last 30 at the plate, but still a dangerous guy. I mean, this guy at one time was one of the better hitters in the National League. And Harlan gets knocked down. No problem. Flips to Desmond. I don't know if I've ever seen a pitcher.
I haven't either.
And end up literally on their back.
Look at the crowd.
He deserves a standing O.
Give him a standing O.
That was outstanding.
I mean, this ball coming right back in his head. Bounce right at his head, gets the glove up. If he doesn't, that's off his face, ends up on his back. And then from his backside, little flip over to first for the 2nd out. Well done, Greg Holland. Watch it. Ow. Crowd still abuzz.
Here's Hunter Pence. Rockies, the bottom of the 9th, will have the top of the order. Just the guys you want. Blackman, LeMahieu, Arenado. Pence 0 for 3. And this is popped up, and it's going to get out of play.
You can register today for the opportunity to purchase single game tickets to potential 2017 Rockies postseason games at Coors Field. Go to Rockies.com/postseason to sign up and check out all the Rockies postseason information.
Ball and a strike on Hunter Pence. Bouncing ball, retreating is Story. That's a terrific play, athletic play. 1-2-3 inning for Greg Holland, who helped himself out with a great play. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Chuck Nasty and the Rockies trying to win it in regulation. The Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean, Crisp, Coors Light. Rockies' highest single season average against any opponent all time. DJ's hitting .451 this year against the Giants. He'll be batting second. Nolan driven in more than a run a game the last 2.5 years, or closer to 3 years now, against the Giants. Our Cold Hard Facts brought to you by our friends at Coors Light. So Stephen Okert, the lefty, is in. This is so unusual for September and the Giants. They have only 2 lefties down there, Okert and Josh Osich. You know, Boch in his dreams with like 11 lefties.
Yeah, and maybe 16 righties, so he can make all these moves. You bring the left-hander in. Not good numbers for Okert. Charlie's 2 for 4 in his career against him. Lefty's hitting .298 off of Stephen. Well, you know what? Cincinnati had a walk-off win to help the Rockies. How about the Rockies have their own walk-off today?
I'm in. First pitch misses on Charlie. Charlie again 2 for 4 against Okert. Ball to left center field, and all of a sudden it comes out of the glove of Williamson. The wind. Denard Span looked like he was running an open 60-yard dash. The ball was closer to Williamson, and the Rockies catch a break.
This is a candlestick fly ball. You're playing the Giants at Coors Field. But they can Span has it the whole way. Instead, it's Mac Williamson. It will go down as a double for Charlie.
He doesn't care how you mark
Not
it.
At
He's
all.
at second.
He's at second base.
Let's see if Boch comes out. You have LeMahieu. They've had Corey Guerin, a right-hander, warming up. Of course, your next 2 hitters are righties. Normally where Boch really likes to match up, but he's not doing it here. Obviously, DJ is going to be bunting. I say obviously, you would be shocked if he wasn't.
Right, but then what does Boch do? He's going to walk the bases loaded, or does he walk just Nolan to get the left on left with Parr matchup? I mean, these are situations. I got to get the guy to third base right now. So if you're DJ, you're going to bunt, put the pressure on the Giants.
He's swinging, and he hits it too hard at Posey. So Blackman, a rare ball to the right side, could not move up.
That's why you got to make sure he gets over there. I understand the thought from DJ, but it was hit so hard that Charlie couldn't go because of where Buster was positioned. Now they'll just go ahead and put Nolan on.
Now you set up a double play. And I understand what Buddy's thinking. Buddy's thinking, I have the best inside-out guy in baseball who's going to hit the ball to the right side.
And he did. That's where you hope when he hit it to the right side that it was a 12 hopper over there.
You know, when things are difficult, they could not be more difficult right now for the Colorado Rockies.
That's right. Now Gerardo, 367 with runners in scoring position.
I don't know how I would finish that statement. Dot, dot, dot. Here's Parra. I like this matchup. He mentioned earlier, this is not a real nasty lefty, left on left.
And now a guy that has a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He averages about 91, 92.
It's not a real odd arm angle. 2-0. Pat Valaika has come out in the pitcher spot now because the Rockies double switched earlier in the ball game.
In the outfielders for San Francisco. Look at how shallow they are.
They have to be. They got to prevent Blackman from scoring. 3-3, bottom of 9. Got locked up there, but it's called the ball. 3-0.
Got a break on the Subaru strike zone.
Maybe a couple of breaks.
2 breaks. The first pitch and the third pitch.
Got to take here. All the pressure on Stephen Okert. Ball 4, and now they're loaded up, winning run 90 feet away. And the only question is, will Valaika face Okert, or will he face the right-hander?
I don't see Bochy moving from his seat yet until now. He's just waiting until Pat's announced. Double switch.
Corey Guerin will come in.
Ryder Jones will go in at third.
3-3 Rockies 90 feet away from celebrating. really the top right-hander out of the bullpen for the Giants is now in the game. Corey Gearin has been really good, particularly of late. He's blanked the opposition in 14 of his last 16. Righties, in particular, are 1 for their last 16 against him.
And just 4 for their last 33 in the last 18 games. Corey Gearin has been one of their mainstays in their bullpen for a while, but not like a lot of relievers these days, is it? He's not a hard thrower, and it's his fastball, changeup, slider, and his fastball averages 91.7 miles an hour.
And you know, traditionally, this year he's at 46.5% ground ball rate, but in his career it's around 53%. And obviously the last thing Pat Vallejo wants to do right here is hit it on the ground, but he has really been terrific in these situations. He's been, quite honestly, much better off the bench than as a starter.
Well, 11 RBIs as a pinch hitter. He's 15 for 47, and he wants to take the major league lead in that department with his 12th RBI, because right now he's tied with Matt Adams.
Outfield obviously very shallow. The infield comes in within a couple of steps of the dirt. Blackman at third. The only guy that matters. 1 out in the bottom of the 9th in a 3-3 game. Here we go.
Good job.
That's a great job.
Corey was waiting forever. I mean, it was making me uncomfortable up here, and I can only imagine what it's like in the box. If Pat, look for the ball up. Don't chase it down, but if he gives you one up, even first pitch, go to Hackett. That's what you do as a pinch hitter.
That's what he was doing. 0-1. Ninth inning. Rockies trying to end a 4-game losing streak. Boy, it's taken a while. 0-1. Milwaukee lost earlier in Cincinnati. A walk-off home run with 2 outs in the 9th by Billy Hamilton of the Reds. So the Rockies can move a game and a half out front if they can get a marker here.
Hard to sit on slider if you're sitting with an 0-2 count, but that's what he's threw in the first 2 pitches.
Pitches, he strikes out Vallejo. So it'll come down to a 2-out matchup between Gearin and Carlos Gonzalez. The infield backs up, the outfield backs up. You need a clean hit.
Cargo and Corey have matched up 2 other times. Cargo's still looking for that first hit. These guys are just waiting for a mob scene. This is what they want. Get that hit, go celebrate.
Outside ball 1. Cargo a double and a run scored back in the 4th. 1 for 3 and a walk. There's 2 at bats. 0 for 2 against Gearin for Cargo. almost got away. Nick Huntley saved the day, at least for a moment, for the Giants. 2-0.
Wow. This wasn't for the athletic ability of Nick Huntley. Look at how he had to just go over and scoop it up. I mean, this game is over. Charlie thought he was going to have an opportunity. Nick.
Cargo.
Saved the day so far.
Yeah, with a 2-0 count.
Stay small. Don't get big with your swing if you go, Cargo.
Just under 30,000 standing. They're like all of you at home. They don't care how it happens. They want to see Blackman cross home plate. Betancourt, who we all love. Looked like Ralphie's Chad Bettis working out there. You talk about a guy who takes forever.
He's a modern-day Steve Traxel. Love it, get loud.
Ball 4, ball game over, and the Rockies win it 4-3. The old walk-off walk, and the Rockies end that 4-game slide. They move a game and a half in front of Milwaukee for the final wild card spot here on Labor Day 2017. It didn't matter how. Not the way things have been going for this club.
Not at all. You get the walk-off walk.
Baseball, funny game. The contrast, 3 straight strikes, and the punch out of Pat Valaika, and then 4 pitches not close are Jimmy John's delivery of the game to Carlos Gonzalez.
Yeah, the second pitch was a slider, then the third pitch was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball that was away, and then followed it up with ball 4, 93 away. As you said, it doesn't matter how you get it done, you can just get that Jimmy John's delivery of the game. You get the walk-off walk, you get the all-important victory. You feel good tonight, 4-3 win. A lot of smiling faces in that dugout.
You're just trying to find a way to ease the tension. You're trying to find a way to get, the offense going. And even though it's 4 runs, they certainly didn't break out offensively. They had 1 hit, and that was maybe the gift hit to Charlie in the 9th inning since the 4th. But they get to celebrate. Spilly's got the guy who had the walk-off walk. Spilly, are you?
Yeah, I got Cargo right here. Walk-off walk. How bad over this weekend did you guys need to win today?
That's it, man. We just got to win. We talked about it before the game. We had a meeting with the manager, with the coaches. Just keep things loose, I know it's September, but we've been playing good baseball the entire year, so there's not a reason for us to change our approach, our mentality. Just keep going forward. We're going to have more opportunities, and then, this is a big team.
Have you ever had a walk-off walk before as a player in your entire career?
I don't remember. I don't think I've done that before, but win is a win, I wanted to have a good at-bat. Obviously, I wanted Pat to end the game there with 1 out. They throw him some really good pitches, and it was my time. I was able to walk, so I'm really happy for the team.
How'd you relax in this situation? Bases loaded, you want to come through, it's 2 outs, making sure you got your pitch.
I'll tell you what, this is what we work for every day. Every time I come to the plate, I know it's been a hard year for me, but I'm always positive. I'm always, I know I have the support of the fans. I know I have the support of my teammates, so I'm just trying to relax and believe in myself.
That last inning, the fans were on their feet. They were pulling for you. They saw the Milwaukee Brewers lost today as well. What do you do when you get those at-bats and you hear the crowd behind you?
It's exciting. That's what we want to do. I want to have big at-bats like that every night. Like I said, we prepare ourselves every day to have an at-bat like that. So I'm really happy I came through.
Thanks, Cargo. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Mark, Corey, back to you guys.
Well, that was exciting. Everybody on their feet for that final. That was awesome.
Walk-off win is big momentum. This is just the win, or just the kind of win these guys needed. Their 5th walk-off win. Phenomenal job by these guys battling at bats. We'll show you all of it coming up on the postgame show.